Elizabeth Bernhard, Partnership Engagement Manager at Youth Solutions. Thanks for joining us today to explore a career in financial planning. I'm really blessed to welcome students from Western and the Sanford Center for Financial Planning and Wellness with Western Michigan University, as well as two esteemed colleagues in the field. As you can probably see already, today's event is being recorded, and specialists are broadcasting today's discussion to their youth in their classrooms. Throughout the event, please use the chat box to enter in any questions that you have. And also at the end, we'll have a Q&A session where you can go off mute and ask questions personally. With that, I'm very pleased to welcome our first speaker, Alden McCabe.
Hi, so I believe we're doing introductions first, right?
Yes.
My name is Alden McCabe. I am the Assistant Program Manager at the Sanford Center for Financial Planning and Wellness at Western Michigan University. Bit of a name. I'm excited to participate, share a little bit with you guys, and I'm a recent graduate from Western Michigan University, so I'm sharing a little bit about everything that I just went through in order to pursue a career in financial planning.
Hi, I am Renda Wilk. I am a certified financial planner and practitioner and currently running my own coaching business. So I'm a financial coach and I specialize in late stage college planning for the families of high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors. But I have been through the progression of becoming a financial planner, then a financial coach, and now specializing in college planning. So happy to be here.
Doug, how about you?
Oh, sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Doug Watts. I'm a financial planner. I sort of specialize in working with folks who are looking to get a handle on their financial lives and kind of prepare for the next step in their journey. I'm really excited to talk to everybody. So I look forward to hearing the questions that are coming.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Tramonton. I'm a student at Western Michigan University. I'm a junior this year, and I'm majoring in personal financial planning. And I also work at the Sanford Center as a peer financial coach. And I'm excited to be here and share kind of what it's like to be going through that program.
How you guys doing today? My name is Martin Walker II. I'm also a student here at Western Michigan University. I am a finance and leadership business strategy major and currently work for Sleeping Giant Capital, which is in downtown Kalamazoo, a private equity firm. And I'm excited to just get to talk to you guys about finances and some of the scholarships available here at Western Michigan University.
Hi, I'm Todd Mora. I'm the program manager for the Sanford Center here at Western Michigan University. We specialize here at the Sanford Center to providing financial education and financial coaching for students here at Western, and to, as a broader outreach, we try and promote financial literacy and understanding in the greater Kalamazoo community. I come from a K-12 education background. I was a CFO and then a superintendent for 30 plus years. And so I'm excited to hear what everybody has to share today. Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Hello, my name is Enrique Domeyer. I am a sophomore here at Western Michigan University. I'm also studying personal financial planning and just excited to answer any questions any students may have.
All right, I'm going to jump into it then. I'm going to share my screen, give a little presentation, but the stars of the show are going to be the panelists once we get through some of the basic information to share a little bit about what they do. So everybody see my screen all right? All right, perfect. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what is a career in financial planning look like, as well as some other careers in that realm. So financial services. Financial services is a pretty broad category. Professional services that involve investing, lending money, money management, and everything in between. So this includes banks, investment houses, mortgage lenders, really anything that's going to impact individuals' financial life. To be sale of products, really anything. So it's huge. If we look at all the different financial services available, it's a huge web of different career paths that somebody might choose to take. Because we only have a limited amount of time, we're going to narrow in on some of the more personal areas of financial planning. So careers in personal finance. So personal finance is a term that involves money management, planning, investing, that impacts individuals or businesses. This is things like managing your cash flows, your budget, your risk management, your insurance. How do you avoid financial or turmoil events, I guess? How do you plan for retirement in the future? Estate planning. What happens when somebody passes away? Where do those assets go? And how do they manage that in the least impactful way to those finances? And taxation. Taxation is a tough one, but it plays into a lot of the planning that they do. I know Doug at their firm, they're very tax focused and they're really busy this time of year. So it's good to have them with us. Industry provides individuals and households with financial and investment opportunities in order to support them throughout their entire life, including all those different areas. So talking about personal finance services, here's a continuum. The top is showing corrective services. So something terrible happens and somebody needs support to get out of it. That's debt counselors, credit counselors, somebody's going through bankruptcy, a bankruptcy trustee. So helping those people get out of a really bad situation. And there's careers there. Then there's preventative. So financial counselors, financial coaches, and industry specialists, like if you're at a hospital, they are going to help you plan and support you in developing your plan in order to make sure that none of the corrective responses are needed. You can make through it and support yourself through that process in order to find yourself or be successful managing your financial life. Then there's proactive. So there'd be certified financial planners or financial advisors, wealth managers. And these are people that are going to take somebody that's in an all right position in order to build them up for the future. That would get into things like retirement planning, estate planning. How do we pass on the wealth that we've built up? And how do we maximize our tax situation in order to maximize our financial life? So the most prominent one that we're going to talk about first is personal financial advisors or personal financial planners. So personal financial advisors provide advice to help individuals. I think that's a really important part of it, is their job is to help people with one of the largest areas of their life, their life savings, their financial life, in order to be successful in achieving their life goals, their financial goals, and eventually their goals to pass things on. In picturing this, I like to look at it as a puzzle. So I have this puzzle here, as well as on the next slide. So truly comprehensive financial planning is like taking the pieces of someone's financial life, their personal puzzle, and helping them put it together. So all the pieces have to come together nicely. And if you don't have somebody there educated and trained to help you, it can turn into a mess. I've seen similar puzzles that are based off people doing Google searches. It's like not knowing what the picture needs to look like, trying to search puzzles on Google and fit pieces together incorrectly. So being the professional there to support somebody and put it all together. As well, there's product focused. So this is outside of putting the puzzle together, but providing the different pieces. So that would be somebody that's selling life insurance or investment products. They're necessary, but there's been a large shift in people providing that holistic, full puzzle to clients currently. So talking about that shift, traditionally, if you've ever watched The Wolf of Wall Street or some different movies where it's sell, 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 you're getting commissions. That's what the business used to look like. So you were selling products, usually attached to a life insurance policy. You were sell, 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 then developing relationships with people, and then developing your actual skills and knowledge around financial planning. There's still opportunities like that if you're interested in kind of that commissions, really go-getter field. If you want to be a salesman, you can get involved with personal finance and sell products. But since around 2010, there's been a major shift in broker-dealers or product sales to more technical skills and competency first, hired in at a salary, get paid a good salary in order to develop plans, shape plans, and then provide those to the lead planner, who then presents those to the clients. After you develop competency and you're able to put together plans successfully, no longer needing as much guidance from the lead planners, that's when you begin developing relationships. When new clients come in, they're going to come to you, develop those relationships, and then begin doing the financial plans yourself. And then later on, once you have some clients that way, you get into business development. So developing your own clients, getting introduced to people, and building your book of business, I'd say. So that's a big shift that we've seen in the industry that I think is going to continue to trend that way. So it's about being knowledgeable first, and then supporting people and building those relationships. Relationships, you'd be surprised, are a big part of financial planning. So getting into this. So this is a recommended pathway by the CFP board for those interested in becoming a financial planner or financial advisor. So as I mentioned, you start in an analyst role. So there's no business development, you're not meeting new clients. Instead, you're taking the data provided by the financial advisor, the lead advisor, putting those plans together, presenting them to the lead advisor. He makes changes, adjusts, and then presents it to the clients. From there, you move into an associate advisor role. You might be in more meetings, taking more of those notes, putting together those plans, and then some clients you might be presenting to, if the lead advisor isn't available. From there, a service advisor, so you'd be dealing more with the client interactions. That's when you're building that empathy, the ability to relate to clients, build those relationships, and be more involved in like the personal side of things. And then once you excel there, moving into some of the business development stuff and building your own book of business. So this is recommended by the CFP board. We'll talk a little bit about what it means to become a certified financial planner in just a second. Trying not to take too much time. So financial counseling. This is a little bit different than financial planning. Todd Mora on the call, he's actually a accredited financial counselor, an AFC. So financial counseling, in contrast to financial planning, is an approach where you work with individuals in order to change their behaviors, educate them, change their behaviors, resulting in them determining what the outcomes they want to have are and achieving those outcomes. Financial counselors work in places like hospitals, credit unions, universities and the financial aid office, government programs. I've come across a lot of AFCs that work with military, mainly volunteer-based, but work with military families in order to help them achieve their goals. There's also AFCs that work in private practice. There's a link here to somebody that's been a good supporter of the center and the events that we do. She also is the one that connected me to Rinda, and she has a private practice as a financial coach, financial counselor, supporting people and changing their behaviors. So then there's a financial coach. I know a lot of words for a slide, but I wasn't sure if I could explain it too much different without it. So a financial coach works with clients to provide support and encourage them towards their defined goals. So similar to a sports coach or any other coach, it's somebody that's not making the decision or pushing them so much in one direction, but supporting them as they move forward to achieve their goals. So there's no products involved, there's no real asset management or any of that. Instead, it's session by session, helping build them up so that they can go forth and achieve their goals. So exploring certifications and careers. So I know I talked about some different careers a little bit, but financial planning and financial services is very certification and letters next to your name driven. So here are some popular ones. There's a CPA, that's for people who want to get into public accounting, corporate accounting, government accounting. That's accounting. I didn't mention that so much, but it's a very popular designation. Some of you have probably heard of it, so I thought I'd add it in. There's the CFA. So that's a Chartered Financial Analyst. So keyword on analyst. This is going to be somebody that's really into the numbers, less extroverted or into the personal side of things, that wants to do portfolio management, research, consulting, investment strategy, and focus on the investment side of things. Then there's the CFP. So that's a Certified Financial Planner. Certified Financial Planner is who typically take on the role of being a financial advisor, financial planner, consultant, and it's client facing. So you're the one that's taking all the different pieces of that puzzle and putting it together and then presenting it to the client. Then there's the AFC. So that's financial counselor, financial assistant specialist if you go to a hospital or at a university. And then they also make up a lot of educators, financial literacy education, and things like that. So how do you achieve these? So a CPA, in order to be eligible for the exam, you have to have finished 120 credit hours of specific coursework in the field of accountancy. And then CFA, within 11 months of graduating with your bachelor's, you're eligible for the exam part 1, or you have to work a certain amount of hours, 4,000 hours first, before you're eligible for that exam. The CFP, to be eligible, you need a bachelor's degree, and you have to fulfill the specified coursework by the CFP board. WMU has a CFP program in order to, and a major designated to that, so you take all the courses to make you eligible as soon as you graduate. For the AFC, there's a couple different routes, but I wasn't sure if I had time to talk about everything. If you're already a professional, a financial professional holding another designation, you can kind of skip over some of the other requirements to get your AFC. If not, there's an education pathway where you take some classes. Western also offers those classes in order to be eligible for your AFC exam. And that's Accredited Financial Counselor. So eligibility requirements in order to obtain the license. So the CPA, you can take it at 120 hours, the exam, but you need 150 hours, credit hours, that's at a university or college, in order to obtain that designation. And you pass 4 exams and need 2,000 hours of work experience. I'm not super into the CPA, but I think that 2,000 hours is across multiple areas, so it ends up being more than that. The CFA is 3 exams, considered the hardest financial exam in the world. 22% pass rate last July. Very challenging. If you're into the investments and the numbers side of things, faith you can make it happen. And that's 4,000 hours of work experience in addition to the 3 exams. Takes an average of 4 years after school in order to pass all 3 and obtain those letters. The CFP, after you've got your bachelor's degree, taken the specific coursework, it's 4,000 to 6,000 hours of work experience. 4,000 if you're directly supervised by a CFP, 6,000 if you are not directly supervised by a CFP, but doing financial planning work in the industry. The AFC is to pass the exam after you've taken the coursework or have another professional designation, and you need 1,000 hours of work experience. So, roles that certification holders play in the field of financial planning. So, this was a report put together by Investment News in 2017. So it's a little bit older, but I think it has paints a good picture for where you might end up if you pursue some of these different designations. So the CFP, as you see, it's more popular in the advisor realm. So practicing partner or lead advisor, service advisor, support advisor. Those are all stuff that we talked about before, and you'll see that the average years of experience kind of increases because that's going step by step through those advisor roles in order to reach a lead advisor. CFA, you'll see that's most popular where I mentioned before, the portfolio managers, the senior portfolio managers, the people that are really diving into the numbers and the investment side of things. Research analysts and senior research analysts. All great jobs, as you can see. It takes some time to work up to the higher earnings level, but throughout that you can make a very good living. I think reflecting again on what you're doing is you're helping people with their financial life, and you can do very well off in your financial life as well. So getting into the programs offered at WMU. So if you are interested in going after the CFP, becoming a certified financial planner, you have to take the specific coursework first. That's figuring out how to put the puzzles together and then ending with a class of actually completing that puzzle, which is the capstone course. So you take investment analysis, financial coaching, tax accounting, risk management and insurance, estate planning, retirement planning and employee benefits. And then, as I mentioned, you pull it all together in order to create some financial plans in your capstone course. As well, if you're interested in different areas of finance, there's some routes laid out on WMU's website. Finance, there's a little more flexibility, but you can take specific coursework depending on kind of your area of interest, whether it's corporate finance, the investment analysis side of things. You can do that as well. Also, we have the AFC coursework taught by, the last course taught by Todd. You can do that in addition to either major or other majors. And that's just the personal finance course and the financial coaching course in order to sit for your AFC exam, which in addition to those courses, it's going to take some more studying, but they meet that requirement to get there. So scholarships, we'll have some of the guests talk a little bit about that, but the big one, if you're interested in education, is very expensive. We deal with that a lot at the Sanford Center, but WMU has some great scholarships to help kind of lessen that cost, such as the Greenleaf Trust Scholarship. I'll let the others talk about that in a minute. And then there's multiple scholarships within the university specific to Western students. And then I'm not going to click on it right now because I want to get to some of the questions, but Kitces.com, that's put together by Michael Kitces. He has a full list of scholarships available to students pursuing their CFP or in financial planning programs. So if that's something you're interested in, there's a ton of scholarships, a lot of diversity scholarships and scholarships for women specifically to kind of broaden those involved in the financial planning industry. I would have liked to get into demographics, but didn't want to take too much time, so I had to cut some stuff out. So I can send this stuff to Elizabeth, but if anybody has questions about anything I mentioned, you can ask them at the end or email me, text me. I really don't mind, and I'm happy to answer those. But because I wanted you to hear from some of the others, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and start prompting some of the questions. Ooh. And I'm going to start with some of the student questions. Is it all right if I pin them?
Fine.
Can I pin multiple people? I don't know. So I'll go Martin, Enrique, Nicole. Let's just go that so we can keep it consistent. What encouraged you to study finance or financial planning at WMU?
All right, so I'm excited to take that question. So it's interesting enough, I actually started as a sales and business marketing student and leadership and business strategy. I switched over my sophomore year going into my junior year to finance and leadership and business strategy. And what made me take finance was mainly because I was really interested in the real estate side of it. I like numbers. I like doing financial modeling. And what happened shortly after switching to finance is I had an amazing opportunity to work for Torchlight Investors, a real estate company in New York. And just from there, when I came back in the fall, I got to work as private equity analyst for Sleeping Giant Capital, where we do a lot of financial modelings and then look at different investments, work with different CEOs, trying to buy businesses. And then this summer, I'll have an opportunity to go to Deutsche Bank and investment banking, sales, trading, structure.
All right, and then what motivated me to study personal financial planning here as Western is when I was probably 12 or 13 years old, my parents started being pretty transparent about their finances and like their financial goals. So I was pretty exposed to like the idea of like financial planning early on in my life. And then in high school, I was like, I like numbers, but I don't like science numbers like physics or anything. So then I'm like, you know what, I'll do money math. So then I just kind of decided I'll just do that here at Western because my dad is a Western alum. So I looked into that.
All right, mine's pretty similar to Enrique as well. I was exposed to financial planning when I was younger. I also have a really like math geared mind, and I thought I was going to end up in accounting and I didn't want to, and I was super stressed. And then I was thankful to find out that there was a different path for me, which was financial planning. And yeah, I was just really into it. I loved sitting in on the meeting, and I knew that it was something that I would be interested in.
All right. I closed with scholarships, and I know that some of you have received some larger ones. So I'd like to ask, what kind of financial aid or financial support have you received while obtaining your education at WMU, and how did that happen, or what were the requirements to obtain that?
Sure, so I can go. So I guess one of the larger ones for me, I would say, is the Greenleaf Trust Scholarship, and kind of listing on some of the requirements. So first is for both finance and financial planning majors. You have to be at least have a 2.5 GPA and be a full-time student at Western Michigan University. It's about a $12,400 a year scholarship, and it is renewable. And the reason why it's helped me so much with just tuition, kind of books for school, and then helped a little bit out with some of the housing I have at school. So it's been really beneficial for me. I think the main thing that I enjoy the most about the program is our mentorship side, where you get to speak to Greenleaf Trust employees. They'll talk about some of what they do at the office when it comes to financial planning, but also trading side of it and investment side. So I just had a lot of benefits from the program in general.
I'm also with Martin, part of that Greenleaf Scholarship program. So I just want to add on to another type of scholarship Western does is they do like these merit scholarships. So based on how well you do in high school, they'll give you money based on that. So Western, like as a whole, gives you like a certain amount. So I get that. And then also the Hayworth College of Business gives an additional merit scholarship. So it's like you're getting 2 merit scholarships for being a business student. So all 3 of those scholarships have been really beneficial for me to make it more affordable.
I unfortunately haven't been able to get any scholarships, but like I said earlier, I was exposed to financial planning when I was younger through my parents, and they were able to meet with an advisor and set up a plan for both me and my brother, and they were able to save and support us throughout this, and that's also what led me into this career path. So I'm really thankful for that.
All right, so last question for some of the students. How have you been able to gain experience in the field during your time at WMU to set you up for your career?
So one of the ways I was able to gain a lot of experience is really through my current role. Well, through the Leadership Biz Strategy program, we've had different experiences where it comes like Bronconist, which is our wine brand that the Leadership Biz Strategy owns. I got to do some of the numbers, look at the financials for that. Also currently working at Sleeping Giant Capital, private equity firm. I get to do some of the financial modeling, look at numbers for different businesses and companies, and get to work with CEOs and kind of decide, hey, should we look further into this? Should we dive into social media, financial statements, income statements, and then give an overall opinion on if this business is right for us as our company to buy. So that's kind of some of the experience I've had here at Western Michigan University.
For me, I'd say the biggest thing to like kind of like get involved with the field and all of that is just like clubs here at Western, regardless if you're studying finance, accounting, personal finance, marketing, or sales. If you join a club that's like designated for that major, it's literally impossible for you to not have regular encounters with professionals in the field. So then you can connect with them, ask questions, and kind of grow your own like personal desire for your major.
For me, it was the Sanford Center. It's such a great resource for students. I was able to connect with people and get internships even when I was a sophomore and knew like nothing basically, because a lot of times they're looking for juniors and seniors. So I was very lucky. And then now I'm a peer financial coach, and that's been amazing because I'm getting that exposure of coaching people before I'm actually out in the career or in the field. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited.
Great, thanks for sharing, guys. So now moving over to some of the professionals, I wanted to start with, hopefully you agree with some of the information I ran through, but I want to start with, what do you think is the most rewarding aspect of your career? Maybe go Rhonda then Doug, or Rinda then Doug.
Sure, that's an easy one for me. The most rewarding thing is that I literally get to change people's lives for the better. Working one-on-one as a financial planner / financial coach, I'm literally working at the granular level of helping people make everyday decisions about their finances and figuring out what keeps them from making a better decision and help them strategize and overcome the parts of them that make it difficult, and they end up better off and able to carry on with making better decisions in the future because they've learned something with me and their time with me. So it's so rewarding to see how relieved someone can be when they see their financial life begin to improve. So
I think for me, it is the relationships, the chance to join people on their journey through life. I feel like the impact that we have not only on an individual, but on subsequent generations is just amazing. For me, it's really about building an ongoing bond with clients. I really, really enjoy that.
Awesome. So as well, I'd like to ask, I talked about some trends away from more of the product sales and more of that relationship building. And I think you kind of touched on that with both your answers and how that's a really important part of it. But is there anything you see changing, or anything you feel is going to become more prominent in the future of financial planning or financial services?
Well, the concept of financial wellness is becoming just, you see it everywhere, the term financial wellness. This didn't exist, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I think that there are going to be financial wellness type services being offered through more through the businesses that we deal with every day. For example, you're going to probably see your bank start to offer financial wellness services, maybe colleges, universities, high schools, and probably other businesses that you deal with to just try to help people feel more confident and make better financial decisions in their daily life. That's how I see it going.
I totally agree in terms of the coaching aspect. I think that's going to be a growing portion. Demographically speaking, the research shows us that there's basically the largest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity happening as baby boomers are starting to age and move out of the workforce and things like that. Wealth is being transferred to younger generations. And the relationship that those generations have with technology, the relationships that they have in terms of how they interact with other people can be wildly different. So as an example, like when I go to the grocery store, I kind of don't want to talk to anybody. I kind of go to the self-checkout machine, keep it low key. And so for some folks, they want to interact with an advisor that has, like a bit of distance to them. So really, we're figuring out how to serve a different generation and speak to different walks of life.
So this one's specific to you, Renda. Having your career in financial coaching and I think financial counseling with Financial Finesse, financial planning, how has your experience coaching differed from those other experiences? You said it's going to be more prominent, but what makes it unique?
Yeah, I mean, I would, to kind of sum it up, I would say as a financial planner, I was dealing more, definitely more with the investment side of a person's life and doing things for them, like saying, hey, here's the plan and let me help you carry this out as your planner. As a financial, I think what you're calling financial counselor, when I worked at Financial Finesse, that was more definitely was helping people, everyone from the lowest paid to the highest paid employee at companies, with any personal finance question they could possibly think of. They could come to me with that. So definitely I had to increase my knowledge a lot over a very broad area, right? And it was more, helping people through the next decision they were going to make, right? What's the thing that's bothering you or stressing you out with your finances right now? And let me help you get over that hump. And now as a financial coach, I'm able to specialize on the one area and walk with someone hand in hand over a period of time to, help them with all the decisions they've got to make for that one aspect of their life. And hopefully that will carry on with some of these people further down the road in their financial life to other decisions that they'll want to make and we can work together on.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so last question. What should young people be aware of when determining if a career in financial services or financial planning is of interest to them, and what are some things that they can do to kind of help guide that decision?
Renda, do you want to go first or should I?
Oh, you go ahead.
So I'm just going to repeat back the question to make sure that I've got it, Eldon. So what should a young person, can you fill in the blanks? Is it like, what should they have? Is it a personality type or a skill set that they need to develop? Or I guess could you repeat the question just one more time for me?
I think both of those would be great to hit on. It was what should they be aware of, or what can they try and do now to determine if it's a path that they could take. So I think skill set and personality are both great things to touch on.
Okay, this is a great question, but a very big one. So in your slides, you kind of went over the two different business models. One was sell at the beginning, the other one was sell at the end. But 2/3 of the process was relationships, right? So my dad always used to say, like, the first rule of real estate is location, location, location. I think in financial planning, it's relationships, relationships, relationships. So you have to become a very good listener. You have to learn to listen actively and deeply. It's a skill that is very valuable in all aspects of your life, but it's especially valuable in our profession. I think the other thing that I would focus on is being comfortable problem solving, be that both analytically and emotionally. What we do requires a blend of two different things. So you have to be able to translate sort of nerdy, hyper analytical, this is what the number in the chart says, to, you know, I grew up and we didn't have money and I'm scared and I need to figure out how I'm going to deal with that fear. And the ability to walk across both of those stories and narratives, that's a big chunk of the core value proposition that we present as professionals. So I think, obviously, get good at the academic side, get used to studying and learning new concepts and translating those to other people, but also build your emotional IQ. Really understand what it takes to be in a productive professional relationship with others around you, and that in a way that makes sure that they're blessed by your presence.
And I couldn't agree more about the relationship aspect and everything that you said. And along with the relationships, you know, developing a sense of empathy for anyone that you're working with, because you have to meet them where they are. You can't, like, rule of thumb and a set way of doing things just doesn't usually work when you're dealing with an individual person or family, because you've got to take into account who they are as a person, or, you know, how they operate, and start there. But also, not, you know, relationships within the industry are going to be equally important, because it may be getting better now. When I started out, it wasn't easy to find that entry level job, to get those hours that I needed to be able to get my CFP certification. But the way you can do that best is just to meet as many people in the industry as you can. And that will start to help open up some doors for you. Yeah, those are my words of wisdom.
Oh, thanks. I think that we need to get to questions real quick. Leave some time for that. So there was a question in the chat about, is a 4-year degree necessary? I don't know if you want me to answer that, or?
Or go ahead.
So in my opinion, it's not 100% necessary. You meet financial planners that haven't been to school. I know one specifically that he got his Series 65. His father was in the business, and he kind of followed in his path. For the most part, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, most people that are financial advisors or in the financial planning industry do have a bachelor's degree. If you want to get your CFP, which is kind of growing in significance, it is a requirement. If you want to do more of the financial counseling, there's courses you can take that you don't have that same 4-year degree requirement, but there's compensation differences there.
Thanks, Eldon. Do we have any other questions from attendees today?
No questions here, but thanks for a great presentation.
Thank you, Jocelyn. We are coming up on our time here, but I want to give our students one more opportunity. What excites you the most about entering into a career in finance? Nicole, Enrique, Martin, what do you think? What excites you the most?
I would think what excites me the most about going into the financial career is really just that energy. So like for me, especially being on the trading floor, I'm kind of excited to be able to utilize some of the sales experience that I've had in my past from when I was younger. It's also calculating numbers and just working with a large group of people, and then really also working with people who are interested in knowing what, to invest in or making different option calls or trade calls. So it'll be really interesting, and I'm excited to kind of work in that field.
For me, I'd say I'm most excited about just building relationships with clients that will last for years. Like the clients that I'll be getting in my first few years of being an advisor, I'll most likely work with them, or hopefully work with them their entire careers of them working. So building those long lasting relationships is going to be awesome.
For me, I think it's going to be helping people. And, I grew up the first half of my life, my parents weren't financially aware. They didn't have a good setup. So I saw the transition and how much better their lives were after they were able to get financial planning help. And that's why I'm so excited. I want to be able to help people and see that relief that I saw in my own family.
Thank you. And there was one question in the chat that I want to get to. If a student attending today would like to enter this career pathway, but they don't have a history with financial planning, or maybe even they have a bad history with finances, is this still an option for them? And if so, is there an action step that this young person could take today?
I think I can take this question.
Thanks, Doug.
My journey's been kind of like a river road, a little windy. I think the important thing to do is to figure out. Eldon showed a great chart. It showed all the constellation of different things that you can do. I think it pays to do some research to figure out what's interesting to you. I think the number one pro tip that I can give is ask somebody who's doing the job to just have coffee with you and talk about what it is they do and what they recommend. 99% of people don't take the first step in the journey. And once you take that first step, you've gone from 0 to 1. Everything else is just growth from there. So I would say find somebody that you're interested in having a conversation with and have a conversation with them. You'd be amazed how much time you can get from people just for asking.
Thank you. And if you are a panelist today and you are able and interested in taking some of our students' questions personally, can you raise your hand so that they can see that you're available? If you're able to have our students reach out to you, great. So if you want to learn more about a career in finance, you want to get connected with somebody on this panel, connect with your specialist and they can help get you connected through me, but also we'll be sharing Eldon's presentation with you and it has his email address. So there's a really good opportunity here, a good group of professionals and students who are ready to take your questions. So we are at time. So thank you so very much to all of our speakers. Eldon, thank you so very much for organizing this. Doug and Rinda, I know you're busy professionals. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. And Martin, Enrique, and Nicole, thanks for sharing your joy and love of this subject and joining us today. For those of you who are attending, we have an event next week, March the 2nd, to explore a career in social work, environmental services, as well as we'll have EMTs and paramedics to talk about that opportunity. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.